In today's news, BVI active COVID-19 cases significantly dropped to 152. Curfew is now 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. and all businesses allowed to open except nightclubs.
And residents are sure that all vaccines being administered in the BVI are from the new batch, with approximately 5,500 doses from the expired batch safely disposed of.
And the BVI-USVI Bubble initiative is underway.
And the BVI government not liable for any side effects or mishaps caused to residents who take the Pfizer or the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine, and House of Assembly Speaker Julian Willock for mandatory vaccinations in the BVI with only exemptions for medical and religious reasons. All this and more into it for news returns.
You value traditions.
Today.
You value music. You value education. Family.
I love you.
Service.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.
Welcome everyone. It's Monday, August 9th, 2021. I'm Kamal Haynes.
And I'm Ron Grant. We're coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Of course, our home, our paradise. Thank you so much for tuning in, and a happy Monday to each and every one of you. The Delta variant in the BVI is only a matter of time, and deaths could have tripled, says Dr. Ronald Georges. In addition to that, he says lockdowns and closures can't continue. Residents to get educated update tomorrow. That's from the Minister of Education. I know many persons are looking forward to that as schools are preparing to reopen. Now beginning on the local scene here in the British Virgin Islands. In a recent press conference held on August 6, 2021, Minister for Health and Social Development, the Honorable Corvin Malone, announced that active COVID-19 cases in the British Virgin Islands has significantly decreased to 152 active cases. Additionally, Minister Malone announced that businesses under the curfew and suppression order that were previously not allowed to operate, such as barbershops, salons, spas, daycares, and others, can now open, with the exception of nightclubs.
The health protocols. As of 5th August, a cumulative total of 75,667 persons have been tested. Of that number, a total of 2,532 persons tested positive. 2,343 have recovered. And we are now down to 152 active cases, with 7 persons currently being hospitalized, and again, 37 persons who have passed as a result of this dreaded disease. Let me give you the gravity of this again. We were up to 1,604 active cases just 2 to 3 weeks ago. We're now down to 152. We were up to 31 persons hospitalized. We're down to 7. The CEO of the Health Services Authority will speak more of this, but we're headed in the right direction.
Minister Malone added that thus, given the advancements we've made in the lowering of the surges in cases and the changes in the situation in our territory, the HEOC United Command team have made some recommendations to the Minister of Health as well as the Cabinet of the Virgin Islands for several amendments to be made for the Public Health COVID-19 Control and Suppression Measures Order. Malone shared these statements with us. Listen in.
These recommendations include an adjustment to the current curfew order with an allowance for the period to be amended from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. for a period of 14 days with an initial review after the first 7 days, commencing tomorrow, Saturday, 7th of August. I'll repeat. Recommendations have been made for an adjustment to the current curfew order with an allowance for the period to be amended from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. for a period of 14 days with an initial review after the first 7 days, commencing on the 7th of August, 2021. That is tomorrow, Saturday. That the stay-at-home order be repealed and that all businesses be allowed to operate with the exception of nightclubs and entertainment centers for this 14-day period. This would include, in terms of the reopening, this reopening will include hairdressers, barbershops, spas, restaurants, etc., all businesses. Such businesses are expected to operate within the established restrictions limit of 1 person per 36 square feet to a maximum occupancy of 50 persons, all inclusive of staff and patrons. Reopening measures remain in place for businesses, including hand washing stations, hand sanitizers, social distancing markers, mask wearing, and businesses can expect to be subjected to spot checks by the Social Distancing Task Force, the Environmental Health Division, and the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. These measures must be strictly adhered to so that we would not have to return to the days of elongated curfews and other measures required. 3, that except with the approval of the Minister of Health and Social Development, all businesses and/or workplaces continue to restrict numbers to 1 person per 36 square feet to a limit of up to 50 persons at a time per location, subject to adequate social distancing protocol being maintained in accordance with guidance from the Chief Environmental Health Officer. 4, that all preschools, daycare centers,
Viewers, that was the Honorable Carvin Malone, Minister for Health and Social Development. Now, Leader of Government Business, the Honorable Andrew A. Foy, along with Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Ronald Georges and Acting Chief Medical Officer Mrs. Cordine Malone Smith, also addressed the territory. Vaccination initiatives continue in the USVI for adults and children, which we're going to get into a little later.
Our viewers, continuing from that same press release, where Health Minister Carvin Malone is assuring residents that all vaccines presently being administered in the BVI is from the new batch of the AstraZeneca vaccines and not from the approximately 5,500 doses that had expired at the end of July 31st, when Minister Malone made a disclosure in a recent interview with 284 Media, where he dispelled circulating rumors which suggest that officials were still utilizing old doses of the vaccine. Take a listen.
I would like to assure the general public that we have collected all of the bottles of the expired AstraZeneca vaccine from the various centers and private institutions that were administering these. We have a listing of the numbers that were turned back in. These are being disposed of in accordance with the policies and the procedures for disposal of unused vaccines. The batches that are now being distributed to the clinics, to the private institutions, to the hospital, only consist of those from the new batch that was received last week, the 3,040 doses, and these are receiving 380 vials. These will be distributed. So those persons who seek to get their second doses, it is from a new batch, not the old batch. Those persons who seek to get their first doses is from the new batch, not the old batch, as the old inventory has been destroyed.
Well, the health minister, in a subsequent media briefing, revealed that a total of 685 vials of the vaccine were disposed of after they had expired at the end of July. Well, according to the acting chief medical officer, Dr. Ronald Georges, one vial of the vaccine can be administered to between 8 to 9 doses, which according to our calculation means that at least some 5,480 doses were wasted. Well, Minister Malone said despite this wastage, his government will be doing all in its power to ensure the territory continues to receive vaccines to reach its goal of herd immunity.
Now, viewers,
I want to acknowledge that we still had to discard some 685 vials of the vaccines in this territory on account of them expiring on 31st of July. And with the present situation globally, with more and more waves of different variants causing countries to once again close or implement more stringent travel protocols, vaccine suppliers are even shorter. Vaccine supplies and suppliers are even shorter, and procurement is even more difficult. But your government remains steadfast and continues to do all that it can to ensure that the people of this territory have every opportunity to get vaccinated. I am confident we will get to the 80% needed for optimal protection against COVID-19 and its variants, and that we will once again safely reopen. But again, we cannot and will not without the participation and willingness of you, the people, in doing your part. We must give a debt of gratitude again to the United Kingdom government for providing the 3,040 doses of AstraZeneca that was received recently and is now being administered. The 685 vials were, in fact, properly disposed in a careful and a protocol manner, and we are now administering only from the new batch, the 3,040 received.
In the meantime, Minister Malone updated the territory on the latest vaccination stats, revealing that 16,590 persons are now fully and partially vaccinated.
An extreme amount of gratitude to allow those who answer the call and make getting vaccinated not just a personal choice to protect themselves, but to consider the positive effects that their vaccination status will have on our community. As we are now at a total of 16,590 partially and fully vaccinated persons, which when completed, because currently we are at 12,187 fully vaccinated persons and 4,403 partially vaccinated persons. When completed, this will put us to the 55% margin. This is
Viewers, Minister Malone said this latest development is a trend in a positive direction towards the territory achieving its goal of having 75% of the population fully vaccinated to achieve herd immunity.
Viewers, still ahead, BVI government say they are not liable for any side effects or mishaps caused to residents who take the Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. We have all the details of this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
The wait is over! CCT Fire is here! Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire, bring it home and upgrade today.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Well, viewers, welcome back. Our government has declared that they will not be liable for any side effects or mishaps suffered by residents who opt to take the Pfizer or the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine through the USVI BVI Vaccination Bubble initiative. Well, Minister for Health Carvin Malone made a statement during a recent COVID-19 update where he said that all participants in the initiative will have to sign a form exempting the BVI government from such liabilities. Well, he said, and I quote, "Participants will have to sign their application and a declaration exempting the government of the Virgin Islands from any and all liabilities associated with the vaccination," end quote. Well, in contrast, residents who suffer any side effects from the AstraZeneca version of the vaccine, which is being procured to by the territory by the United Kingdom government, will be covered by the UK. Well, this was recently confirmed by the UK Healthcare Ambassador to the Overseas Territories, Professor Ian Cumming. Well, meanwhile, Health Minister Malone also gave a more detailed outline of the criteria and instructions to be followed for persons interested in utilizing the USVI to BVI vaccination service. Well, as previously mentioned in several related articles, persons interested in this initiative must have in their possession a valid birth certificate for children under 18, who also must be accompanied by a parent or a legal guardian, and should have a valid passport which meets the entry requirements for the USVI. Qualified persons will be exempted from the applicable quarantine requirement as partially vaccinated persons and will not be required to register on the re-entry portal and will be exempted from paying associated fees. However, all participants must fund all costs associated with getting the vaccine, including transportation and logistical costs, which is said to be around US $90. Take a listen.
Those of you who are able to meet these requirements can move on to the other stage of the registration process. Persons can complete the vaccination bubble registration form and submit it along with the listed documents through the email to the Ministry of Health at gov.vg. Let me repeat that. Those of you who are able to meet these requirements can move on to the other stage of the registration process. Persons can complete the vaccination bubble registration form and submit it along with the listed documents through email to the Ministry of Health at gov.vg. Persons can also register by calling 852-7525 Monday through Friday between the hours of 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. During that call, you'll be asked a series of questions and the information will be validated for eligibility purposes. Please ensure that information provided is truthful and accurate. We may be able to protect you here, but we cannot protect you there. We want to know your contact information, your immigration status, your vaccination preference, your vaccination history, if any, your reason for participating, your medical history, and if you have previously tested positive for COVID-19, among other information.
Well, the health minister said once the registration process has been completed and participants sign the application and declaration forms, they will be added to the bubble list. He outlined the protocols that must be adhered to by all participants of the initiative.
People on the bubble list will be given a date and a time to check in at the Western Ferry Dock. Persons will have to check in at least 1 hour and a half before the departure time to the ferry to allow for the rapid antigen testing. The BVI Health Services Authority has also lowered the cost of the rapid test to $30 to facilitate this process. All registered persons with a negative test will then be allowed to board the vessel. The boat will depart western bound for Cruise Bay, St. John. Upon arrival, the vessel will be inspected by the Customs and Border Protection CBP. Passengers will be allowed to exit the ferry and go through the terminal while the vessels remain docked. Cleared passengers will exit inspection facility but stay within the secured zone. Passengers will then proceed to the Department of Health for vaccine processing and administration. When finished, the vaccinated persons will return to the ferry and wait until the last vaccinated passenger returns, and all passengers will remain on the ferry until observation period is over. When the observation period is over, the boat will depart St. John and return back to West End Tortola. I don't think that I have to say this, but I will say it anyway. All COVID-19 safety protocols will be strictly adhered to.
Minister Malone also reminded persons that the initiative is time-sensitive with a very small window of opportunity. He therefore encouraged interested persons to utilize the service as soon as possible.
Now, in the same breath, viewers, just so you know, the first trip of the British Virgin Islands United States Virgin Islands Vaccination Bubble initiative set sail to St. John on August 3rd with some 59 passengers, 33 of whom were children. In addition to that, a Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Andrew Foy, thanked the Governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands, Minister for Health and Social Development, the Honorable Carvin Malone, and the entire health team that made this initiative possible. Viewers, we have so much in store for you. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Brilliant Hands and Minds Tutoring Services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.
Well, Speaker of the House of Assembly Julian Willock believes that vaccinations should be made mandatory in the British Virgin Islands for all residents except 2 special categories of persons. Well, the Speaker made a statement during a recent sitting in the House of Assembly where he said he believes that vaccines should be made mandatory for all persons except those with a valid medical and religious reasons.
I said to our Virgin Islands youth parliamentarians that you have not been forgotten, and you will appreciate that the COVID-19 pandemic has limited our plans. However, we look forward to your final sitting of the year in November and finalizing the work program once the curfew is lifted and we are given the all clear. Finally, I have been listening keenly to the national debate about being vaccinated or not. I speak here for myself to say I fully support vaccination. And while it cannot prevent you from getting COVID-19, all the research and statistics have proven in a compelling way that those who are vaccinated have over a 90% chance of surviving the deadly disease. My heart goes out to those who have lost loved ones. However, it is my personal view that if for medical or religious reasons one cannot take the vaccination, that must be respected. However, I strongly believe taking the COVID-19 vaccination should be mandatory for all.
Well, viewers, Willock also made it clear to the listening public that his mandatory stance on vaccinations was a personal opinion and not one shared in sync with the government's ideology.
Again, I speak on this for myself. It is not the policy or position of the House of Assembly or the government of the day. It is my personal view. 2 exceptions, medical or religious reasons. If one does not fall in any of those 2 categories, it is my humble position that taking the vaccine should be mandatory. This is the personal opinion of the Speaker. I call upon the clap.
Well, the Andrew Foy-led administration has constantly stated that they do not intend to make the vaccinations mandatory for the people of the Virgin Islands. However, several businesses in the BVI have been taking the mandatory stance through adjusting their work policies, requiring staff to become vaccinated or face termination. But the government is yet to publicly state whether such a decision by these businesses is lawful.
Now, viewers, we pan across to the USVI. Speaking of vaccinations, a recently sitting senator, USVI senator that is, the Honorable Stephen D. Payne Sr. shared his COVID-19 testimony with Virgin Islanders, residents, and friends. Quite powerful. Take a look.
Thank you for the time, Madam President. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to the listening and viewing audience. I also like to extend sincere condolences to my childhood friend and his family, Senator Milton Potter, affectionately known to me as Uncle Milt. I had the opportunity to vet all of these nominees in the Committee of Rules, and I'll be voting for the ones that I see fit to move forward at the appropriate time. Let me take a minute. This isn't for my colleagues. Colleagues, y'all take 5. It's for the listening and viewing audience. Before March 8, 2021, I was a strong advocate against being vaccinated. I figured I was extremely healthy. I ate right, did all the right things. So if I was to contract corona, I'd be fine. I figured I had it for about 2 weeks and gone back to life as normal. We know in August, I don't have the strength that I had before March 8. I don't have the endurance that I had before March 8. I almost died because of corona. I used to go snorkeling 3 or 4 times a week because I loved the underwater, the undersea life. I can't snorkel anymore. I used to run up the little teacher steps, run up and down. Now I walk, take each step one at a time to make it up and down. My joints still at times, especially my back, so I spend most of my time standing or standing in the back of the chambers. I haven't been the same. I gambled with corona. And corona, I'm still feeling the effects. I'm going back to the doctor at the end of this month to see exactly how damaged my lungs were because of corona. I was finally able to get my brother, convince him to go and get vaccinated. That was a battle. Today, my lady has gone in to get her first shot. I know it's a matter of choice, but I'm asking everyone who can see me or hear me today, please, please, please go and visit your healthcare provider and decide which vaccine is right for you and get vaccinated. It might change your life. If you don't, you may even lose your life. I'm not the same Stephen Payne I was before March 8. I don't want y'all to experience what I experienced. So please get yourself vaccinated. If not for you, for your family and for your loved ones. Thank you for the time, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Payne, for your testimony. Very, very touching testimony. And I hope that we all, those of us that are not vaccinated, we hear the testimony of my colleague, because I know how strong he used to be. Senator Gittens, you're recognized.
Viewers, that was quite a powerful testimony from sitting senator out of the USVI, Senator Stephen D. Payne Sr. In addition to that, Kamal, before we go, we want to remind the public that there is a system in the Atlantic that is expected to impact the USVI, Puerto Rico, on Tuesday. So we're just going to continue to monitor that. But viewers, that's all the time we have. We thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure as always. I'm Ron Grant.
And I'm Kamal Haynes. Thank you for joining us.